Welcome, Coach Nikki here with a shoulder strengthening workout for you today. So what we have is a shoulder strengthening workout for those of you that might be feeling some weakness in your shoulders, might be experiencing some stiffness, some pain, some soreness, maybe just generalized soreness, or you're coming out the other side of some rehab, maybe from an injury, maybe a surgery that you've had done for your shoulder, and you're looking to build up strength in the shoulder itself. So we are going to, this is a generalized workout. There are lots of injuries that tend to happen even over time, wear and tear to our shoulders, especially if we're really active in a sport such as tennis, basketball, baseball, things that we're really using our shoulder, a lot of power, a lot of overhead reaching for our shoulder that can add in some wear and tear, some pain and stiffness over time. This is a nice workout that we're going to be building strength throughout the shoulder girdle itself, so chest, and even our upper back to help support the shoulder joint. So helping you feel that your shoulders are stronger, and then being able to do some more targeted exercises to again maybe rehab or generally strengthen the shoulder itself. So our moves today are going to be focusing on chest and back in a way that is going to support the shoulder joint itself. So mostly affecting our deltoid muscles. So our deltoid muscles is kind of like a little blanket that lays across our shoulder. We have our anterior or our front deltoids, rear deltoids, and our medial deltoids that kind of come over the whole shoulder. So very important to have that muscle nice and strong, and that's really going to help the shoulder joint move through its full range of motion. So today I'm going to take you through some movements that really anybody can do. Maybe you're even just starting out and looking for some beginner style strengthening workouts. This is for you. Or again, maybe you're just coming on the other side of rehab, so you need something that is not putting so much pressure, rebuilding that strength. This is for you. So I'm going to recommend, we are going to be needing, we're going to do some incline push-ups today. So a bench, a step, maybe a low-ish countertop can work for you for that. We will be using some dumbbells, and if you have a resistance band, I highly recommend that, but we will be using some resistance band, especially as we start to warm up our shoulders. So I'm going to take you through a quick round of our movements, but as you start to build strength, I recommend that you do 2 to 4 circuits of these movements, or 2 to 4 rounds on your time as you have time to build up that strength. Let's get into a warm-up first, because always important to have things warm before we start moving them around. So we're just going to start with some shoulder circles here. I want your arms to feel long, kind of nice and light on our side. We're going to kind of sweep our arms forward here, let those elbows bend. Elbows bending are going to help our shoulders out. Our elbows kind of moving with those shoulders are going to allow ourselves a little bit more of that range of motion. So again, not everybody might be able to come up as big as I am coming here, but go ahead, just feel it out. It might even be just a little bit more of a shoulder shrug and roll if that feels good. So again, I want you just kind of rolling those shoulders back and down, however exaggerated you want to make it, whatever range of motion is feeling good for you. We're going to start with that here. Now we're going to reverse those shoulder circles, so sweeping around. Same thing, feel it out here. Feel that range of motion that works for you. This is a nice big sweep forward, kind of stretching out the upper back, those rear deltoids. But if that isn't for you, again, just little circles. Letting those elbows bend, kind of pick up the hands with the elbows. Good. Maybe just taking about 10 circles back, 10 circles forward. We're going to start to move through our pectoral muscles and chest a little bit with this exercise here. Feet are just our nice athletic stance. So a little bit wider than our body. I'm going to reach my hands out front, just about chest height right here. We're going to take it wide, little stretch, and together like you're going to clap your hands. Wide and clap. Again, about 8 to 10 of these movements here. We want to feel those shoulder blades moving in our upper back here. Bring those shoulder blades together right here. Those arms go wide, together, back, together. Good. And just let it shake it out right here. So all of our movements today are going to be shoulder height movements, chest height movements. We're not taking anything overhead. Again, we're not going to be adding to any of the discomfort, pain that we might be feeling, or any of that weakness. We're strengthening, we're building up that shoulder girdle to support the shoulders themselves. So let's go ahead. If you have a resistance band, again, I highly recommend maybe one of these long ones. You can even do this with a loop band, maybe lighter on that loop band. But we are going to be doing a little bit of a pull apart here. So we're going to come back into that back side of the shoulder, just like we were doing with those arms outstretched. So you can continue to keep doing that if you don't have a band. But for those of us with a band, we're going to go a set of 10 reps here. I've got my medium resistance band right here. It's a little medium thickness, so it has a little bit of resistance to it. Again, determine what works best for you. You might go with that lighter. We're going to let there be a little bit of slack in the center of our band here. Again, we're going to pull it to the chest. Very slight bend in those elbows right here. So it just kind of comes to the chest, release, arms extend out front. Just that slight bend of the elbows as we come back. 8 to 10 of these. And with these movements, where we specifically are targeting getting into the back, I always suggest bring your chin forward a little bit. This is actually going to open up those muscles, kind of those traps, rhomboids that we have kind of right supporting our neck, kind of between the shoulder and the neck. That's going to help those open up, have a little bit more movement from those muscles as well. So again, not super fast with this. We don't want to do any kind of jerking motion, but just kind of fast enough to get a little bit of that muscle burn, really get that blood flowing to those upper back muscles. From there, we're going to go ahead and just relax those shoulders a little bit. We're going to do a little chest, a little pushing movement. So we're going to take our band. Again, if you've got a long band, I'm going to have you take it right behind your back right here. And we're going to do a little punch out with it. So moving through our shoulder. Again, look, you can kind of see, I'm going to give you an option here with your loop band if you have one of those loop resistant bands. But we're going to start elbow back, fist kind of right at your armpit, push out. We'll just focus one side at a time here, moving shoulder back and forward. Back, I can even feel with my hand right here, my pecs kind of fire up as I extend my arm forward. So that's what we're working here, strengthening that shoulder girdle. About 10 to 12 of those. If you've got just that loop band, you probably don't have as much band to bring it around your back. Have everything kind of grip forward. Grip one end of that loop right here, other end of the loop, and just pull it out. Again, same movement. Shoulder, elbow tucks kind of back in right here. Extend, extend. So just kind of holding the edge of that loop band, kind of right at your pectoral muscle right here between shoulder and chest. So a couple different options depending on the band that you have. But that is our banded movements there. So again, fire up that chest here with some pull aparts, and then we've got some pushes, or punches, what I usually like to call these actually. I even like to get a little bit of that staggered stance here. Punch forward, bring it back. We want to feel resistance right here, extended arm position. So that's our banded movements for this shoulder girdle strengthening workout, our shoulder workout. You can let those bands kind of drop off to the side. Again, I'm going to use my weights here. I've got some 6-pound dumbbells. I recommend starting with a lighter set of dumbbells. But go ahead, again, listening to your body, whatever you're capable of. We're all starting from different places here. So we'll get to those in a moment though. But we're going to come into that incline push-up here. So I want you to find something that you're in an incline with. Yes, you can use a wall if you need to. This tends to be a little bit more challenging on wrists, so that's why I like to have even more of a countertop versus a wall here. But wall's an option if you feel like you can't hold yourself up very well in too much of an incline or too much of this plank position right here. So I am on my high toes here. I want my legs to be a little soft with me. Another reason I kind of like, I've got my step here, and we're looking for something just about maybe 12, 14 inches wide. So, you know, again, just kind of thinking about positioning your hands, your wrists maybe just slightly wider than your shoulders. So that way we don't get so much pressure on the wrist. But here we really want to open up the eye of our elbow. Elbows forward, because as we lower, we want those elbows to tuck right by our rib cage, press up. Shoulders are staying low away from the ear, so shoulders back and down into that. Take it nice and slow on the way down. Even if you can only get about 3 or 4 of these going slower, I love to see that muscle control with a slower movement. If you're only able to get 3 or 4, you're actually getting more muscular development, more use of those muscles than going fast for like 8 to 10 of those. So again, really focus on that contraction of the muscles in the chest right here and push up. So yes, our goal is to work up to a nice slow tempo of about 8 to 10 of those, but even starting with just 3 or 4, really feeling those pectoral muscles grip on here. And as long as we're keeping those shoulders back and low, that entire shoulder girdle is supporting our push-up movement, especially with those arms nice and close by to the body. So again, get a nice incline, maybe start up with a countertop that's a little bit higher, work your way to more reps in a lower position. Again, we're not trying to stress the shoulders here, we're trying to help them build strength, so it doesn't need to be too much. Our final shoulder strengthening move is a back fly, targeting those rear deltoids here. So actually, we just need 1 dumbbell. So if you've got 1 dumbbell, that's what we're going to use because it's a single-sided movement. I am going to come back to a step or a bench here, a little something to lean into. We're going to take our split stance here. So leg back. I'm going to relax my arm that I'm working here, holding that dumbbell, palm facing in. We've got a nice flat, straight wrist and forearm here. I'm taking it wide to the side, little bit of that bend in the elbow as I lift up here. So just like we were doing with that band, let the elbow help the shoulder create that lift. Take it just out wide to the side here. We're lifting with those rear deltoids with that shoulder blade. And we don't want to go any higher than the shoulder. So again, if you're just starting out, you might only be able to come about halfway up. That's okay. Start with that range of motion that works for you. And we're looking to get, again, about 10 of these in on each side. And we're breathing in and out. Good. So again, I'm going to work with you here. We're going to take it to the other side. So I'm switching sides, even switching those legs out here. So leg back of that arm that's working here, so we don't even have to worry about hitting our knee or coming in too close to those legs. Arm is relaxed. I got my flat wrist and forearm, taking it wide to the side. Again, we're moving with control here. Make those muscles work harder by staying in control. We're asking those muscles to contract a little bit longer, work a little bit harder. So you'll be amazed that even a 5-pound weight will start to feel extra heavy a little earlier on when you're moving at a slower pace. So challenge yourself with a slower pace. We don't want to rush through it. Again, we're looking to build strong, healthy shoulders. So put your time and your focus on developing those muscles all the way around the shoulder girdle to help support the shoulder joint. So each of these movements are exactly movements that I incorporate into my everyday upper body routines, but also exactly what I would be doing if I was starting fresh with a shoulder routine, or even starting to build up strength on the other side of a rehab process. So if you have any questions, definitely drop it down in below, reach out to me, NickiFit A to Z. I'm glad you joined me today. Let's get some strong and healthy shoulders.